Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zeng here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked where I climb the online VGC 20 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. Today we're trying out a Sun team that was able to get #1 on the ladder in the very beginning of the season. This team was built by a player called Royston over from Singapore, so thank you to them for providing the team and for sharing it. They've actually included a lot of helpful information, including obviously a rental code, which you see in the description below, a PokePaste, and they also did a AMA on Reddit covering how they play with the team. So all of that's linked in the description below. Now, what's interesting is that Sun was obviously one of the most common strategies, especially earlier on in the format, as well as Trick Room, right? The combination of Dusclops, Torkoal, Rhyperior, and then a really fast sweeper like Venusaur or Charizard were pretty common. This team actually doesn't have Charizard, which I think is pretty interesting. You don't really see that over the Rillaboom slot, but, it's got a lot of cool stuff. I think Life Orb Venusaur is definitely one of the strongest attackers. As you see, it has Frenzy plans, so you combo that with Torkoal, and of course, Grassy terrain coming from Rillaboom. Venusaur is able to just put in so much work. Of course, Rhyperior is a Pokemon that's actually kind of fallen out of usage. Not a lot of people use it anymore, but this is kind of an interesting back to the basics as we saw it dominate the earlier format in VGC 2020. So, the main reason I wanted to play this team, there are two reasons. One is because it's just a cool Sun team and it features Venusaur, which is, a Pokemon we've used a little bit, but now Gmax Venusaur completely changes how you might want to play with it, especially because you have the added strength of Grassy terrain. And of course, this team was able to get #1 on the ladder. Royston was able to go like 50 and 25 within 24 hours of the ladder resetting and climb all the way to rank #1. So thanks to them for providing the team, and I'm excited to play some games with it. Obviously, we've tried out Rain. Previously, Sand's been a staple in the format for quite a long time. Maybe we'll get to a Hail team at some point throughout the season, but I hope you guys enjoy. And question of the day, I'm curious what you guys think about Sun as a strategy at the moment. For me, actually, I think it's kind of underplayed, and I'm surprised we haven't run into too many teams on the ladder, because I know a lot of high ladder showdown players are still using it, so yeah, I'm personally been a little bit surprised that we haven't gone up against it too much on Road to Rank yet. But I think Sun just has so many different options, especially because with Venusaur and best of one, you're basically playing the guessing game. Is it Wide Lens, and is it going to Sleep Powder you turn one, or is it just going to go for that Gigantamax? Obviously, we went up against Gmax Venusaur a couple days ago, and I got a little bit lucky in that endgame against it, and it's just a really compelling Pokemon, especially when you pair it with Rillaboom, so excited to play with it. As always, if you guys enjoy Road to Rank, please show support by leaving a like in the video. I'd really appreciate it. And once again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you to everyone for tuning into Road to Rank these past couple of days. It's really incredible to see viewership be as high as it is, and it just makes me happy to see so many people tune in and consistently watch the videos, even if they're 30, 40 minutes long. So I really appreciate you guys coming out and tuning into all these episodes. So let's get things kicked off. Up against Andrea for the first game of today's episode with a very familiar team. Okay. This looks like Federico's team, which we obviously featured on Road to Ranked just recently. Now, when I was playing with that team, what I really didn't like going up against was Torkoal. So Torkoal is going to be a really essential Pokemon here, I think. It's so interesting, because we can just go with the Rhyperior route here, right? And basically, play mind games as to whether or not they want a Trick Room. It's just I want Torkoal, I want Rillaboom, I want Venusaur, and I want Rhyperior, but do I really not bring Dusclops? That doesn't seem like a good idea. Man, there's so many mind games immediately. Let's see. If you just go, I think Rillaboom needs to come out because Psychic Spam is a little bit too scary otherwise, but I don't need a Rillaboom. One lead that you often go with this team is just Rillaboom and the Venusaur, but in this case, that's one of the worst leads probably in this specific scenario. So, Rillaboom, Dusclops, Torkoal, Rhyperior is interesting. It does mean that I'm not committing to Venusaur, at least in the early game. It's just the amount of psychic stuff that makes me a little bit scared to bring Venusaur. So Dusclops, Rillaboom, Torkoal, and Rhyperior. So what's tricky about this matchup is the Trick Room mind games, right? Am I clicking Trick Room? Are they clicking Trick Room? We can both reverse our Trick Rooms as well. So maybe Venusaur would have been a little bit more appropriate solely for the purpose that we know we'll always go first with it if Trick Room isn't up. But it's kind of tough to slot in, honestly, because I really feel like I need Rillaboom and Torkoal and Dusclops, and Rhyperior just feels like the best sweeper in this matchup, quite frankly. Okay, it's going to be Rillaboom and the Porygon, as I go with Rillaboom and Dusclops. Actually, thinking about it, I don't even know if leading with my Rillaboom was the smartest idea, but that's fine. We'll want to KO the opposing Rillaboom first, because if we KO that, then Rhyperior is able to put in a lot of work. So good to know that we're faster with our Rillaboom here. I mean, knockoff is really valuable here against Porygon as well, right? But do I really care about that right now? What I want to do, quite frankly, is just hard switch Rillaboom out into Torkoal and Trick Room turn 1. But I think getting rid of Eviolite turn 1 could also be pretty valuable. So like knock off onto the Porygon and just go for a... We don't have Nightshade here, which is pretty interesting, so we could Pain Split. I mean, they could just fake out the Rillaboom as well, I guess. We could go for a fake out of our own. Actually, I don't mind switching to Torkoal, because if we get this off, we're just in a great spot going into the next turn. I have just pressure with Eruption immediately. And my opponent doesn't really have a great switch into Eruption on their team. I want to conserve the Rillaboom just because it does have some value, especially if they have Hatterene in the back. Okay, so let's see. Oh, it's actually just going to be knockoff coming out from from the Rillaboom. Okay. But they don't Trick Room, which is good. That's the main thing I was worried about. Okay, so Torkoal takes that Ice Beam. Not much of a problem. And we get Trick Room up, so that's good. The problem here is that you probably switch the Rillaboom out and reverse my Trick Room, right? So if I want to predict the Trick Room reversal, I can click Trick Room again here, which is pretty interesting. I definitely click Eruption here regardless on the Torkoal. Just whether there's value to going for Pain Split here, but I really think you try to reverse my Trick Room. I'm going to predict that and just go for a Trick Room out right here. If we KO the Rillaboom too, then Rhyperior has a field day in this matchup, but I think Rillaboom is definitely switching out here. Love for my opponent to prove me wrong and stay in, that would be great for us. Yep, so switch out there, not really shocking. It's going to be Marowak coming in. Still going to take a lot of damage, right? Like, it's not maxed, this is boosted by Sun and Charcoal. Like, probably 50% of damage, I would guess. Yep. Just a little bit under. Okay. And Porygon went for Trick Room. Perfect. Okay, so that's what we want to see. Now this is interesting, because, like, what do you do this next turn? I can't Nightshade the Porygon. I've healed back a little bit from terrain, which means Torkoal's nearly back at full. So increases our Eruption damage output just by a little bit. However, I don't know if it's enough to pick up the KO here, which is my main concern, right? And if you're my opponent and you want to deny me, like, you could just obviously, like, max Marowak, max Ghost into Dusclops, and, yeah, max Ghost into Dusclops. I just want to double check the speeds here. Yeah, so Dusclops will go first, which means, sorry, Torkoal will go first, which means Nightshade doesn't really hold too much value for us here. I mean, I definitely want to Eruption again here. I just think, like, Dusclops doesn't really have that much value for us right now, so I'm considering even switching it out or even just going for an Ally Switch, although I don't think Ally Switch is the correct play. Yeah, I think I'm actually content just going for Eruption here and a... I guess I'll Bulldoze. Like, the Bulldoze covers my opponent... Oh, Marowak protects. Okay, interesting. Oh, this might work out better for them, then. I was fully expecting Marowak to just max an attack here. I'm curious if they predict me trying to, like, do the same play, though, and they don't click Trick Room this time around. Because that would be huge. But I think they should. Okay. Yeah. This indicates Porygon... Or actually, no, it doesn't indicate Porygon Trick Rooming it, so let's see. I really thought Marowak was going to max there. Unfortunately, it didn't. They go for Tri-Attack, though. Okay, that's exactly what we want to see. Torkoal takes a lot of damage there, but not enough to pick up the KO. I just really hope a Heat Wave KOs Porygon now, because if it does, it means we have Trick Room up for a couple more turns. It's really close, honestly. I might be forced to Bulldoze just to guarantee... I mean, I don't know if, like... I mean, Bulldoze does so little damage, honestly, but I think we still go for the Heat Wave and the Bulldoze here. Yeah. Sun is getting stalled out, too, which means Marowak won't be able to take advantage of it later on. So, I mean, I got what I wanted out that turn, which was predicting Porygon to not Trick Room, but it's still a little tricky here. And for this reason, I was thinking, like, maybe I should have brought Venusaur anyway, because, like, if I had Venusaur in the back right now over the Rhyperior, what I could really easily do is just... Or even over Rillaboom, I guess. I think that was probably the correct approach. But in best of one, leading Rillaboom was never the correct answer, though, right? Because, like, I'm always going to lose the Terrain War there. So... Yeah, I don't think I led well in this game. At least I've committed Marowak to maxing here, so let's see. If we could KO Porygon, that'd be huge. But it looks like it's going to survive with a Sliver, which is very unfortunate. Yeah, hangs on with a little bit. Okay. Which means you can now reverse Trick Room as well, which makes this so tough. If only I had Venusaur. Okay. They're going to Phantasm. I'm sure into Dusclops, right? Yep. And then reverse Trick Room now this time around. So unfortunately, the Porygon hung on. I mean, this shows how good Porygon can be, right? Like, it took Eruption, Heat Wave, and 2 Bulldozes. It's just such a bulky Pokemon. Oh, he actually has to recover, though, instead. That's interesting. Okay. That could be a big deal for us, because now I can bring in Rhyperior. Yeah. We bring out Rhyperior. Terrain is slowly expiring. I still have to deal with Rhyperior. Sorry, the, I think Rhyperior still outspeeds. I'm worried that Rhyperior actually outspeeds us now. Let's see. There's 2 turns of Trick Room left. Got -1 defense. Kinda have to conserve the Torkoal, to be honest. So, like, I'm leaning towards going out into Rillaboom here. And just trying to KO Marowak. Yeah, that seems okay. Porygon reversing Trick Room isn't the end of the world because our Torkoal will wall the Rillaboom decently well. It really comes down to what my opponent's last one is, to be honest. But I need to conserve the Torkoal because that's my best way of beating Rillaboom. Okay, Porygon switches out, which is good. Probably Rillaboom coming in. Oh, it's actually NDD. Interesting. So we know all of their Pokemon now. Yeah, actually, I think the Marowak outspeeds us now, right? Which is the problem because I bulldozed it. Which is part of the reason why I didn't feel great about bulldozing. But I was hoping Heat Wave plus Bulldoze would do enough to knock out Porygon. Now, I guess it ended up working out because they didn't reverse our Trick Room, but I was too afraid of the Trick Room reversal in that position. And if it's Min Speed Marowak, then yeah, it should outspeed us here, I think, under Trick Room, which is a little unfortunate. So let's see. Oh, they actually max guard, though. Okay. So they commit a turn to max there. Sun is gone now. Policy isn't activated. Terrain is up, so I can't fake out. You obviously want to just max Flare into Rillaboom here. I might even KO Torkoal. Wow, that switch really caught me off guard. I guess they went for this solely for like the follow me stuff. Yeah, I guess I switch out into Torkoal here and just attack with Rhyperior, Quake into the Marowak slot. Rockfall is value for setting up the sand. Actually, that might be better. Yeah. It's a close game. That last one caught me off guard, though. Like, I could have doubled up into the Porygon. If I KO the Porygon there, we're in really good shape, I think. But I didn't expect NDD switching in, and us losing to Terrain War made things really tricky. Okay, so there's Follow Me, which isn't surprising. I guess I'm also making this play assuming the Marowak outspeeds us. Yeah, which they do, so I was correct on that. So the good thing is that we'll actually outspeed the Marowak outside of Trick Room, but yeah, the Flare still just gets the KO onto the Torkoal. But at least now I changed the terrain. I have faster Rhyperior. The only problem is the Grassy Glide coming out from the Rillaboom in the back. Because the best way for us to deal with Rillaboom was the best way to deal with Rillaboom was our Torkoal, and we lost that. The upside here is that I can pick up a double knockout, right? Like I can just go for knockoff onto NDD, Rockfall into Marowak. Or actually, we want to Quake here just for the Spadef boost. But the problem is that I've reset the terrain, so now you can just Grassy Glide into Rhyperior. I guess the question is whether that's a one-hit KO or not. I'm not sure. Okay. So, Marowak's max ends. I think Venusaur just would have been better to bring in this one, too. I was a little bit scared of it because of the double Psychic stuff, but I think we could have denied Trick Room. Like, if I just led Venusaur outright with Torkoal in the back, my opponent's in a really tough spot because they have to, consider the mind game. My lead just wasn't strong enough in this match, in my opinion. I'm going to go for knockoff here. Grassy Glide might be better, just to guarantee. But they might switch out NDD here. Actually, if they switch NDD out, that's a pretty big mistake, right? Like, because here you probably want to... I want to pick up a double KO if I can. I'm going to Quake into Marowak for sure. It's just what I do here with Rillaboom, whether it's a Grassy Glide or a knockoff. Because I could knock off. I think Grassy Glide's safer, though. So I'm just going to go for the Glide and the Rockfall. Oh, I meant to Quake there. Yeah, that was a misplay. Marowak switches out, maybe into Porygon? Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So then the Marowak outspeeds in subsequent turns. And NDD protects. Okay. So that's interesting. It's probably enough for my opponent to win this now, unless... Oh, we still outspeed with our Rillaboom against their... Yeah, we still outspeed with our Rillaboom. Not Quaking there was a mistake, though, obviously, because we would have gotten a special defense boost, which is pretty valuable in this position, actually. Okay. Do you just stay in with NDD right now? I would think. I guess you could follow me and like recover as well. This Porygon's just been such a hassle for us. This is where maybe G-Max Venusaur could have put in some work. Okay, I mean, yeah, gliding into Porygon is pretty safe because I don't think NDD is ever really putting on much pressure. We do have Fire Punch, so we could potentially nail them on the switch out if for some reason they carelessly switch Rillaboom in. So, yeah, I mean, I think you should just, like, sacrifice both your Pokemon here. But if they carelessly switch in the Rillaboom, we just win. But, yeah, they're not going to go for that. So, Drain Punch to knock off means we have a pretty good late game against the Porygon. The problem here is that the Porygon should outspeed us, meaning it's just going to recover away. So, this thing has just been such a pain. Yeah. I should have just gone for knockoff onto a turn 1, maybe. It's just so difficult to KO. I guess the one bright side is that terrain is slowly getting expired. It's pretty good damage from Fire Punch, actually. So with terrain slowly expiring, it means that Grassy Glide might not... you don't really need the priority, I guess, anyway. But then you don't have the increased damage output, which I guess is more important. I wonder if Drain Punch KOs Porygon from this range. I want to say it would survive, but can't guarantee that. So this is still definitely winnable. They're going to bring out their Rillaboom. I've revealed Fire Punch, which means obviously you have to respect the threat of that. There's still 3 turns of terrain, yeah, which I guess is doesn't bode well for us. I'm gonna go for Drain Punch here onto the Porygon, and I mean protecting Rhyperior is so obvious, but I think we still go for it. Or this could be a position where I say protecting doesn't really have any value. I'm just gonna go straight for an attack. I might actually do that, especially if they get careless and like just fake out into my Rillaboom, which they go for. Oh, they go into Rhyperior. Okay. Well, I guess that makes sense. Oh my goodness. Just faint Porygon, man. I mean, if we picked up the KO there, actually, we would not be in bad shape, I think. But this thing just keeps healing back. Ugh. Okay. I mean, I think they click recover again here, right? This thing has hung on with like 5% recovered like 3 different times, which has been such a pain. I guess the fake out into Rhyperior makes sense just for chip damage, right? 2 turns of terrain left. So I could either opt for the double protect. What a pain, man. I think I protect this turn at least with Rhyperior. It's just, does a Grassy Glide one-shot Rhyperior? I'm thinking maybe not. I don't remember how invested that Rillaboom was. I really thought we'd KO Porygon there. It's so sad that we didn't. Yeah, the Protector Rhyperior is pretty obvious this turn, but I think I might still go for it. Yeah, I'm going to knock off Porygon here and Protect. Because I'm thinking here my opponent might just double up. The safe place to always recover with Porygon. So like Grassy Glide recover. But if they don't recover, then obviously this will be... I should have just knocked off last turn. I really thought Drain Punch was going to pick up the KO. And they actually read the... Wow, the Protect. That's an aggressive read. And Trick Room. Whoa, okay. Huh. I mean, now it actually comes down to whether Grassy Glide KOs us or not, right? Thinking maybe we can survive. Maybe that's wishful thinking. I'm going to Glide now into Porygon because I don't want to eat up an Ice Beam and Fire Punch. That was a really aggressive read. I could also go for the double here, but I don't know if that's the right play. Are they not Grassy Gliding here? Doesn't look like it. Because we're... Yeah, what? Okay, I'm really confused now. Alright, Fire Punch does not KO, though. But they go for Superpower into Rillaboom. I'm really confused as to why they haven't been Grassy Gliding. That, I feel like, secures us the game. Because now Rhyperior outspeeds, and your terrain is gone. Alright, I have to say, the last 2 turns were really confusing. I thought we had lost this one for sure. I want to do the calc because I honestly have no idea whether Rhyperior can survive a Grassy Terrain boosted Grassy Glide. Like, you wouldn't think so, right? I'm pretty sure you definitely don't KO Rhyperior now after the attack drop and with Terrain disappearing. So, just going to Drain Punch the Rillaboom, I think. And 10% accuracy trade, or sorry, 5% accuracy trade. I think we just Rock Slide here. Okay, nice. And it connects. Wow, I don't know. I feel like we should have lost this one. Really confused about the lack of Rillaboom targeting Rhyperior with the Grassy Glide at all, especially after I committed to Protect. But let's actually do that calc real quick because, like I said, I don't know if that's a KO onto Rhyperior. I would think so if you're like admin max attack. Grassy. Oh, I guess we don't have the attack in the calc that I use. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a KO. Yeah, I don't know why I thought Rhyperior. I mean, if like, I'm pretty sure that was just Federico's team, which was a KO onto Rhyperior, so I feel like we should have lost that for sure, but the Trick Room turn was really confusing to me, because like, Rhyperior outspeeds everything under Trick Room. So, I don't know if they were maybe just playing overly cautious. Like, they might have not known the calcs there either, right, onto how much Woodhammer is doing. And I'm pretty sure Federico's team was like admin max attack on Rillaboom. If it's not offensive Rillaboom, no, actually with terrain being up, we still get crushed by it, right? Pretty sure. Yeah, it still should be enough to KO with terrain being up. So I'm honestly just, yeah, really surprised about that. I think it was ambitious for me to even think we could survive. But maybe what they were thinking is for my play to go for the double protect. I just think they really needed to go for Grassy Glide on the last turn of terrain. Especially because I'd committed to protect at that point anyway. And even if I get the double, you're still not in bad shape. So we got to dissect that game a little bit more. But yeah, I should not be assuming my Rhyperior to survive because I wasn't Dynamaxed. Okay, well that was a doozy. Let's see if we can bring out Venusaur in this next one. Venusaur looks pretty good. So there are two things to watch out for here, right? Primarina Aqua Jetting into the Colossal. It's actually really threatening. To a little point where like I'm thinking we could just lead Dusclops Venusaur and like ally switch turn one, but that's just so cheesy. This is a really cool team for my opponent. Like you have beat up and then Surf. Like there's two main sweepers in Colossal and Cobalion, right? For that reason, maybe we just go with Rhyperior again. I don't know. Like set up Trick Room, go from there. Because like how's my opponent actually denying Trick Room if I lead Rillaboom Dusclops? You'd have to lead Amoonguss, which is pretty passive. Or Incineroar, actually. I actually like Incineroar more. Yeah, I don't know. Incineroar, Dusclops, Rhyperior. Do I just go full Trick Room here? It feels like that. Because, like, the thing is that Torkoal just outspeeds the Amoonguss under Trick Room. So, yeah. I don't know. That last game felt weird. I felt like my opponent had it locked up more or less because they had pinned my Rhyperior into a weird spot. And I committed to protect. So, yeah, I think, like, as long as you, like, even if you just don't Trick Room there, I think you win if you're my opponent. So, because Trick Rooming was, like, the best case scenario for us, quite frankly. Whimsicott Cobalion. Okay. This is really good for us. This is just fake out into Whimsicott Trick Room, turn one. There is no way to deny that, even if, I mean, whatever Cobalion does, I don't really care. Like, what's important is that I just get Trick Room up in this game. Let's just go for that. Sash, maybe. Shocker. I mean, if anything, that last game is a good example of, like, why to never give up. But quite frankly, like, we should have lost that. There's some weird plays down the stretch. So for that reason, in games like that, it's always good to evaluate, like, what went wrong, right? And I think Venusaur was the answer in that game. Because, like, we set up Grassy Terrain. It does a lot with its G-Max move. It outspeeds everything that my opponent brings. The only thing I was worried about, I guess, was, like, Hat NDD, but that was kind of a silly fear because I had Rillaboom. Plus, like, my lead was just not good. That put on no pressure whatsoever. So, I think that last game, bunch of mistakes, one being in the lead. I mean, we found an out to win, but it was bizarre. If anything, that honestly felt more like a throw than anything, because, I mean, personally, I didn't know the Rillaboom calc into Rhyperior, but with terrain being up, I think it's safe to assume we would have gotten knocked out there. So, yeah, I think, like, well, once again, they might have been reading into a double protect from Rhyperior, which I guess makes some sense, but, I don't know, like, their play, I'm not sure, really covered the option of me actually getting the double off. That is the best justification for it, though, honestly. They're gonna Airstream here. Okay. So we got Trick Room up. That's nice. So, you guys know I love Cobalion. And I'll tell you the secret to beating it, just don't get beat up off, and it becomes so much worse, honestly. I'm just going to switch the Dusclops out here in fear of Ally Switch, or sorry, in fear of Encore, because that's like the one thing that can stop us right now. So let's just Flare Blitz into the Whimsicott. Actually, this Whimsicott's use that. No, it could, if in the off chance it actually has Trick Room, I don't want that. So let's just switch out. Honestly, I don't even mind hard switching to Rhyperior here, because like, you're not going to KO us, and you probably activate our weakness policy. Let's just do that. We're in really good shape here, though. I thought if I get Trick Room up against my opponent's team, I just win the game. And, you know, this feels like a matchup. Like, the nature of the metagame right now is that a lot of teams are very hyper-offensive. And, yeah, against really hyper-offensive teams, like, Trick Room is truly one of the best counter/answers. And, you know, this team is not exactly hard Trick Room either, and for that reason, there's more flexibility in how you can, like, set up, for example. Okay, Primarina switches in. That's actually pretty scary, because that does have a priority Aqua Jet. Maybe it was a little careless to switch in Rhyperior, because that's the Pokemon we want to Dynamax, like, every time, right? So, I think that was actually kind of a bad decision on my end. Could max Incineroar, actually, based off what my opponents brought. They're going to go for Rockfall, though. That's great for us. It sets up the Sandstorm. And it's going to go into Rhyperior for a total of 17 damage. Primarina's going to take as much damage as we did pretty much this turn. So, yeah, okay. Now we're in really good shape. I'm not even worried about Aqua Jet or, like, Hyper Voice. The safe play is actually to probably just protect the Rhyperior, hope my opponent procs that weakness policy through Protect, and just go for, like, a Parting Shot here to switch in Torkoal for free. So, Parting Shot, Protect here is fine by me. I bring in Torkoal, get the Sun up. Actually, it might be better to bring in Dusclops, because then I can just Bulldoze this next turn. But this is a classic. I will actually say my play this last time was a little bit careless. Even if you like max Steel Spike or max Knuckle Rhyperior, we don't take that much because you're intimidated. Which is why I thought that was okay, but if we get crit there, it might not be super smart. That being said, I didn't really want to just stay in. Oh wow, that's a slow Primarina. Okay. Underspeeding our Incineroar, not... Maybe I should have expected that. That's fine though, actually, because now we get a free switch in. Life Orb. Yeah, now we get a free switch into Torkoal. Hopefully my opponent goes for like Steel Spike under Rhyperior and activates her weakness policy. That would be ideal. But now we're in really good shape, especially because we know the Cobalion can't protect, so we're free to just obviously target that slot next turn. I think we just got into Torkoal here actually, because I've already burning. I've burnt a couple turns in my Trick Room, so I want to just apply maximum pressure right now. Okay. We get Torkoal out. Steel Spike, hopefully into Rhyperior. Yes, give us our weakness policy. Look how little damage that does, by the way. Like, that's why I was fine switching in Rhyperior into Cobalion. This Pokemon is just really weak if you don't get beat up off. And so, that's why I like it, right? It's reasonable. Like, it's strong if you get beat up off. I mean, it's amazing. If you get beat up off often with it, you probably just win the game. But that's the exact reason why I don't like leading Whimsicott Cobalion or Dragapult Cobalion, unless, like, your opponent truly has no answer to it, because it's just really easy to counter. I'm fine just going for Eruption here. There's still 2 turns of Trick Room, which is, I think, enough for us at this point. Actually, the one thing we have to respect is the Cobalion switch out here, right? Eruption should KO Cobalion, I would think. I'm not really worried about Primarina. So, let me Eruption and Max Quake that slot to cover for it switching out. Because Torkoal's going to attack first here anyway. Yeah. Primarina doesn't really scare me very much. We'll get a Spadef boost here too. Because I still actually have to respect the... 2 things I have to respect. Potential beat up into Cobalion in the late game, which would actually be really scary. So that's why I want to apply maximum pressure onto Cobalion. Okay, Primarina switches out, which is more than fine with me, especially because Whimsicott's coming in, so it might just be... I mean, yeah, this should just be a double KO this turn. Now the one thing I'm worried about now is Primarina Colossal, because my opponent obviously had Colossal on their team. I don't even know. I think like you bring both of those into this matchup. So there's only 1 turn of Trick Room left. The big question is also like, what Colossal set are you? Now we know that the Primarina is slower than the Incineroar, so that's valuable information. I really wasn't expecting that. But we'll pick up a double KO here. Hopefully Cobalion doesn't faint so that I get the boost. But unfortunately we pick up a double. So that was actually a waste of a Dynamax actually. But I think it's still worthwhile to Dynamax the Rhyperior there because it covers 4 switch outs. And I think that's valuable enough. Actually, does it? Maybe High Horsepower would have done the same job. Yeah, maybe we didn't need a Dynamax there, now that I think about it. So let's see if it's Primarina Colossal. If so, what you do here is double protect and then go from there. No, it's Amoonguss. Okay, that's game over then. Yeah, I think my opponent just had no Trick Room answer other than Amoonguss, but Amoonguss is not a Trick Room answer against Torkoal, which has kind of fallen out of the metagame recently. So I'm just going to Eruption and... Is there any way in which we lose this? There's no way, right? Like, with Dusclops and Incineroar in the back still, too, all we need to do is KO the Primarina. Yeah. Let's just Max Quake Eruption here. I mean, Primarina can't 4v1 in this position. Amoonguss protects, but that means Primarina isn't, so that should be game over. Oh no, it does. Sorry, I don't know why I said that. I forgot there's one more turn to Trick Room up. That's still fine, though, because I get a Spadef boost through the Protect. And then I can just Max Flare Amoonguss on this last turn. Might have been better to break Amoonguss' Sash there. Potential Sash. Although, no, there's no way it has a Sash. Whimsicott definitely has a Sash on this team. And that's almost enough to pick up 1-hit KO into Primarina. So, one more hit from the Primarina and it will faint. So, now with Max Flare, I can just click Heat Wave, Max Flare. But, yeah, I mean, this was a very clear cut. Like, you set up Trick Room and you just win kind of game, right? I didn't feel very comfortable leading Venusaur in this game because my opponent had Primarina Colossal. If they lead Primarina Colossal, you can obviously just go for, yeah, it doesn't really do any damage there. If they go with Primarina Colossal, I go with, like, Venusaur. Like, I'm at threat of just, like, eating up a double up immediately on turn 1, so, yeah. Yeah, not Sash or Aqua Berry on the Amoonguss, so, yeah. I gotta say, definitely, the game's played out. We're only playing 2 today. I think a third one would probably... I was gonna say it's gonna probably take too long, but whatever. It's our first time playing with this team, so let's play a third one. I hope you guys don't mind the extra content. It's our first time featuring this team. And I felt like we should have taken an L on that first one, and I want to try to bring out Venusaur in this last one as well, so... Hopefully this third game doesn't drag on for forever. And if you've made it to this point, I would love feedback as to whether you prefer 2 or 3 games. I feel like more is always fine, because, like, if you want to watch it, you can, and if you don't, you can just stop at the second game. But would appreciate feedback for, you know, length. I've asked this question a bunch, and every time it seems like people are like, yeah, we love more content, so why not, right? Okay. Licky Licky. Oh, dear. This is actually terrifying, because, like, I think it's going to be Imprison on the Inity and Cloud9 Licky Licky, which actually shuts down literally the strategies that we want to revolve around, plus Rillaboom. If there went to Rillaboom, I'd be like, ah, this is fine, but the Rillaboom also means Rhyperior is threatened. However, does that mean you bring both Licky Licky and Inity? Probably, right? Wow. What in the world do I do here? Incineroar seems like a solid lead. Like, I'm actually thinking Incineroar, Venusaur, Torkoal. In the ideal world, we set up Trick Room, but I'm not sure if that can really happen easily here. And the reason for that is because of the Inity Mail, which I think definitely has Imprison. I guess I could try to knock out Inity in the early game. We didn't bring Venusaur out at all today, but is it really... Venusaur's not bad here, it's also not great. But I don't think... It's really hard to commit to Trick Room in this matchup because of the Inity, plus... actually, looking back at it, that was really silly of me. If I wanted to just stop Inity, I could have just let Rillaboom Dusclops, I think. But I didn't bring Venusaur at all today. This is a Sun team, and it wouldn't be a Sun team without Venusaur, so let's try it out. I think it's important, as always, you're not always going to get team preview right correctly. It ends up being Porygon Talonflame. I don't see how this was stopping Dusclops, Rillaboom, so that's what we should have led with. On the bright side, we get an Intimidate off against the Talonflame. And we could just fake it out turn 1. Just what I'm leaning towards. Oh, we actually have a lot of options here. I mean, Porygon's terrifying, right? Wow, yeah, this... I guess they probably had Taunt, but yeah, if I just led Dusclops, this probably would have been a sweep. However, we already committed to Hard Trick Room twice today, and you guys don't... I'm sure you guys don't want to see that for every game, so why not mix it up a little bit, right? I'm fine fake-outing Talonflame turn 1. It should be max speed Porygon. That's the best way to run it. So, what we need to do in this game is actually stall out Porygon's max, I'm thinking. But we don't have Protect here, which is part of the problem. I could actually just hard parting shot here into Porygon. And switch out into Torkoal. What I'm hoping... nah, I don't think that's a great play, because I think Talonflame Tailwinds here anyway. Maybe even Flare Blitzing. The thing is, even a single parting shot is such a big deal against Porygon, but I don't like how I played this turn 1. Yeah, I think this Porygon Z is going to mess us up. Especially if they call it correctly and target the Incineroar here, which I think would be not like the hardest read to make. So, yeah, I think in retrospect, I was way too afraid of Indeedee Mail for no reason because our Rillaboom is just going to outspeed that, or underspeed it. We should win the Terrain War, so Rillaboom Dusclops would have been the correct approach. We could have just gone for Fake Out onto the... So let's see. Oh, they go for Protect. Okay, well, that's good. I don't mind seeing that. Strike coming out. Hopefully targeting the Venu slot. They target Incineroar. Yeah, I mean, it was always going to be a return one, and they were on the correct end of that, so nicely done. Now they can Tailwind Max Strike, which is very problematic. Like, yeah, this is where I wish I had Protect on the Venusaur. This next turn is interesting, I guess. Who do you target? I could just bring out Rillaboom as well with the Assault Vest. We can take attacks decently. Their Flare Blitz is going to hurt. Maybe I should have just gambled, but if I lose Venusaur turn 1, we just lose. So, yeah, I messed up on the leads, and you guys heard me say it as soon as I brought it in. Unless the Porygon Z isn't max speed for some reason. We are max speed, so I'll outspeed Porygon. They could tail... I mean, they have to Tailwind here, right? That's the thing. I think we bring out Rillaboom. I don't know. If I bring out Rillaboom, what I could do is fake out the Talonflame, protect Torkoal, and stall out the last turn of max, basically, by sacrificing Torkoal. But then I'm already playing down 2-4, so I really messed up the leads in this game, I would say. Sure, let's fake out the Talonflame here, at least. Also, they made the correct play turn 1. If they did target the Venusaur slot, we'd actually be in a fine spot. That was, like, the prediction I was making. Obviously, I called that incorrectly. I'm just going to go for Fake Out Protect here. It's, like, not a play you normally want to go for, but we're already so far down behind. I'm curious as to what the strategy against Trick Room was here, though, because I thought they needed to counter Trick Room a little bit more. And for that reason, like, I was quite confident in them leading to stop the Dusclops. I don't really see how this stops Dusclops. Okay, Talonflame switches out, which means Tailwind doesn't go up, which actually could be a really big deal, because now our Venusaur is actually in a prime position to potentially put in a lot of work, so I wouldn't count ourselves out yet now. That's a risky switch on unless you're max striking the Torkoal, so I think the max strike has to go on the Torkoal here. I'd be shocked otherwise. Let's see. Yeah, okay. I was like, if you're switching in like that, that's an amazing read. Okay. So here, at least on the bright side, Porygon's max will end this next turn, and then I can bring in Venusaur and go from there. Some good news. However, I'm obviously going to, at risk of eating a Fake Out onto Rillaboom and a max strike onto the Torkoal right now, but I think I have to sacrifice the Torkoal to get Venusaur in for free, and then we go from there. Yeah. I'll go for a Drain Punch in the off chance I get it off and Heat Wave here, but the safest play for my opponent is to just Fake Out max strike. Yep. Oh, they actually commit the Fake Out onto Torkoal, which might indicate they're max striking the Rillaboom. But with the Assault Vest, we should survive. That was close, though. Jeez. It's actually a really smart play on my opponent's end because it denies me a free switch in. That being said, Drain Punch will heal a lot and maybe put Porygon in Grassy Glide KO range. If that's the case, actually, it's close. Because Porygons normally don't have any defense. If that is in Grassy Glide KO range and we can pick up a KO, I think it's a little far off. A little bit off. Because what I'm thinking is if it is in KO range, then we can... yeah, just knock that out cleanly. You can't knock out the Torkoal with Rillaboom, and I still have Venusaur in the late game. Plus, I haven't maxed yet. Let's not forget that. So, this actually became a much more winnable game than I initially thought it would be. 3 turns. We're at -2 speed. That's pretty irrelevant. Yeah, I think we Grassy Glide here and just Heat Wave. There's value to protecting Torkoal here. I mean, the question is whether I think Grassy Glide can KO Porygon. Yeah, and I didn't want to protect because I thought Rillaboom would switch out here. Cinderace is the last one, okay. That's actually a really big problem still. Let's see if Grassy Glide picks up the one-hit KO. Okay, it does. Nice. That's huge. We still haven't maxed yet. Heat Wave connects. Should still do around 50% of damage. Yeah, okay, solid. Okay, we're pulling it back. Today it feels like us clawing out of positions, bad positions that we put ourselves in. So, it's a good thing and a bad thing. It's a good thing because it's like, hey, like, even if you felt like you brought the wrong Pokemon, at least I am, like, making correct plays to some extent. But the problem is that I've been putting myself in, like, not great positions to begin with, right? This is still really scary, right? Because, like, I have Venu in the back. I mean, they just brought nothing for Rhyperior. I maybe respected Licky Licky and Inity too much, and those two neither of those two came out, so I might have just gotten baited into respecting those. Oh, boy, okay. So they have Brave Bird pressure with Talonflame, right? But if they Brave Bird, they lose their priority. There's only one turn of Sun, which is what really scares me here. This might seem crazy, but our play might actually be to max the Torkoal. Oh dear. I timed out there. I took too long to make my decision. I was really thinking about whether I wanted to max or not. Actually, this is fine too. Yeah, because I think you should Tailwind here, yeah. And then this allows you to Brave Bird next turn. Actually, us not maxing might have saved us, because this means Torkoal's Heat Waving, which means I break the... or Eruption. Wait, this actually works out even better for us. That timeout saved us. The logic behind maxing with Torkoal is basically to reset the Sun for Venusaur in the back. But now, I can just Grassy Glide into your Cinderace. Yeah. Grassy Glide into Cinderace. I don't know if Max Flare KOs the Talonflame. I would think it does, to be honest. Actually, it's going to take Recoil, right? One way or another. So, yeah, Grassy Glide, Max, and Flare into Talonflame. I actually like that. Sets up the Sun. Cinderace should not have a great way to deal with Rillaboom. Even if you have Sucker Punch, okay, they're going to commit the Switch Out. That's actually the best play on their end, I think. And you Brave Bird into Rillaboom. But now it's like, how does my opponent actually deal with Torkoal? I don't know. Sorry, the lighting keeps flickering as well, so I apologize for that. Let me see if I can turn that off real quick. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but we actually Dynamax the Torkoal. Doubling up into, actually, the Rillaboom slot would have been smarter there, I think. Okay, well, let's see. It's actually a lot of damage on a Rillaboom. That was a crit, that's why. Flare Blitz, it's fine. Actually, a Heat Wave might have just done the same thing for us here. But, like, I feel like Max Torkoal, like, I have a base 150 Max Flare right now, right? How do you stop that if you're my opponent? Like, Torkoal's defense is pretty good. So, now I've also set up the Sun for Venusaur. I can't protect with Venusaur, so I'm obviously obligated to just attack with it this next turn. But after all that damage onto the Cinderace, I'm pretty sure a Max Flare just KOs here. So, yeah. Today was a weird episode for sure. I felt like both this game and the first game, we maybe should have lost, but we were able to clutch it out. Which is why you never give up. You always try to claw yourself out of bad positions. But... both games would have been significantly easier if I just brought the right Pokemon. So, yeah, this is why, like, team selection is so important in Pokemon, right? In that first game, if I just bring the Venusaur, my life's a lot easier. And in this game, if I just bring Dusclops and lead Rillaboom Dusclops, I think we're also in a very advantageous position. But now I can just double up onto Cinderace, and it should be enough to win the game. Cinderace isn't Life Orb either. I don't think that really matters. I'm actually curious on the item. I would guess Expert Belt. You have Protects. You're obviously not Assault Vest. But the double up on a Cinderace just... yeah, they just actually go for High Jump Kick outright. Okay. So they're not even going for the KO onto Venusaur. I'm guessing then that's because they maybe are doubling up with it from Rillaboom slot. See if Earth Power actually picks up the KO here. Nice. Okay. Dynamax Torkoal. What a day. Yeah, they went for a knockoff. Yeah, so they were hoping for a crit there at this point. That's actually why Max Torkoal, right? At that point, the biggest threat to Torkoal, which is the Porygon Z, is out of the way. And if you look at what my opponent brought, like, Cinderace, which doesn't take Fire-type attacks actually very well, especially because of Libero, Rillaboom, and Talonflame, none of those really deal with Torkoal super well. I actually think, like, what my opponent should have probably done was just stay in with Talonflame instead of Tailwind, but the switch out was obviously because they were worried about the fake out, the second fake out coming out, so, yeah. I have to say, yeah, definitely an interesting set of games today. I am really curious about this team. So maybe, I don't know if adaptability, no, that doesn't matter. I was saying, like, whether Max Darkness KOs the Dusclops, I wouldn't think so. Because I was still wondering what the counter to Trick Room was here. And yeah, it was Imprison, Focus Sash in DD. So I'm honestly guessing their answer was, and it was Cloud9 as well. Really interesting. Like, you could see how in this game, even though my opponent didn't bring in an Indy or Licky Licky, the combination of that legit just made me so scared that I didn't lead optimally. So that goes to show how, like, even if you don't bring Pokemon into VGC match, like, team preview alone has such an effect on people. So, yeah, I would say that first game, I'm still trying to... I think, like, my opponent maybe just, like, got too into their own head, because I really think they had that cleanly won if they just target my Rhyperior. I think they were probably worried about the double protect, but I think at that point you just have to, like... hope your opponent doesn't get it. Even if they don't, they're still in an advantageous position. The Trick Room was just me, like, it literally allowed me to get back into that one. And then this one was like, we led terribly, and I think the correct answer once again is just Rillaboom plus Dusclops, because we win the terrain war. And if your counter to Trick Room is in prison, Trick Room, like, I can just fake you out turn one, and I'm gonna be slower than you. So yeah. Definitely some misplays in terms of team selection. That first one is still tricky, but I do think Venusaur is justifiable because Torkoal does really well against that Trick Room team, even if they set up Trick Room. So it's like we lead Venusaur and then have Torkoal as a late game option. I think that would have been pretty strong. So yeah, that's going to be it for our debut with this team. Once again, thank you to the creator. Feel free to check it out. A link in the description below. I've linked all the threads, including the paste and the rental code. Thanks for watching, guys. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and looking forward to playing some more games soon. All right, peace.